why you might have not done well. So until you communicate with me, I'm not going to know what the conditions are. So when you do talk to me, there's a multitude of different reasons why someone would not do well. One of the biggest reasons from my own tracking is just not doing anything and just trying to wing it. That's not going to go well because the material is complicated and it's moving fast. We can at least discuss whether there's a time to pick up the trail and begin. There's going to come a point where I have predictive models and we can actually spit out whether you're going to actually pass the class or not as a trend. So that's something for you to think about. How many of you are thinking of going into the medical careers? Grades are super, super important. One of the problems that we have with PreCalculus is that it's very difficult to get students to take it seriously. Because Math 111, because it's mostly bio majors, and I don't know if this is your perception, but it may be your perception that this is not in your major, it's not that important, and so you kind of leave it to last. Let me tell you, as being part of the obesity center and directing that, many of my students want to go on to medical careers, and some of them are fabulous clinicians. They can run a clinical study, they can do all the work, but they don't get into medical school, they don't get into PA school, and they don't go anywhere with their degree. One of them is suffering right now greatly. She's not even getting interviews. Grades. It's grades. So Orgo, all those classes which are demanding, where you might think, well, that's not my mainstream major, I really don't care about that. Super, super important that you get on the ball and get good grades in it. We can talk about that more. I don't know what the cutoffs are, but I know that when you apply for medical school or PA school, they'll have 2.5 is our minimum GPA for, that's just for applying. Obviously the first cut is going to be GPA, right? It will be. Now we have the Center for Quantitative Obesity Research here. It's a medical center. It's probably the only one on campus. We get hundreds of students applying at once to that center to get their clinical experience. My student team does the application screen. Guess what the first cutoff is? Where do they cut first? Grades, because it's so overwhelming. There's so many applications. You need some way to draw a bar. And I know that every other professor I talk to where you have waiting lists on their labs to get any research or anything, where do they cut off first? It's grades. Whether it's a good predictor or a bad predictor, I don't know, but that's where they first cut it off. So that's something to think about. When you do discuss it with me, understand that, if that is the thing that you want to do, go into medical school or PA school or somewhere where it's competitive, your grade in pre-calc counts, and it counts for a lot. So if it comes to time where you have to make a decision to protect your grade, and you want to go in the medical career, my suggestion is to protect your grade. Not that I want to lose you from this class, I've just seen the other end with my graduating seniors. If they're not getting jobs, I believe it's probably usually grades. I'm following up with all the places she didn't get interviewed at, so I can call them and ask them what reasons did she not get an interview. Let us help better prepare our students. I can come back to you guys with that feedback and let you know what they say. But I suspect what it's going to be is grades, because in every other way, she's phenomenal. She won a research contest here on the campus. She's gone and presented her research elsewhere. She's done drafts for other doctors at Research One universities of their bio sketches. She's ran a clinical trial. She's worked in our clinic on campus. So clinical experience, she also has shadowing experience. She worked for the EMT. So as far as everything else goes, I can't think of what more she could have done. So it must be grades. So why would you maybe not get or not take this seriously or not get a good grade? Second thing that I find is, as a predictor that I've done for my own analysis, is starting too late. Starting too late on anything just changes your mindset. You're not going to retain it. You're going to be stressed out, and sometimes you end up spending more time on it than if you just started it earlier. I noticed this a few years ago when I started tracking trends on WebAssign and other things that you can download, and you can see when the student started. And I noticed that it was the largest predictor of whether the student was going to do well on a quiz or exam. Not how much time they spent, not how smart they were before they got here, it's just how early they started. And I feel like it's the same for anything we do. When I apply for grants, I take a year to get started. I don't like doing it. I know there are people who like to do it right at the end. I think I'm more successful than them. I start a lot earlier, and I have everything lined up, and there's no last minute rushing, and I can think about things carefully. I think last Wednesday when I came in here, that was the first time I pushed up against a deadline. I didn't like it. I don't like the feeling. But I know how it is. You might wait, you might be used to waiting, that might be the habit. If that's your habit, I can help you with that. If you feel like, oh, I've been procrastinating with my math homework all my life, what have we've done for other students who've had that problem, if we set text alerts on their phone and I check in with them. Say, have you watched the videos yet? Did you start the WebAssign yet? So I put in a little prop, and usually that corrects that problem, and you see their grades rising. The whole thing is to get your grades to go up. So if that's all that's needed to be fixed, we can fix that. I can intervene and help you with your smartphone set up something so that there's an alert reminding you. So, it's harder for you to escape if on Friday I'm calling you at your home and asking you if you've got your work done. Other things that might be, you might just dislike it a lot and not want to look at it. So maybe what you need is a senior math major to sit with you and make sure that you're getting, you have one-on-one help. If you don't understand the material and are avoiding it. I know that if you didn't understand the material on the videos and you weren't avoiding it, you would have contacted me. So that's the assumption, right? You would have let me know. So if you're avoiding it for whatever reason, we can turn that around. So those are just some options. I don't know what else it could be. There could be other things. You could give me feedback and let me know if you're on the other end. The director for the Red Hawk Learning Center and I were talking today about the not taking it seriously. I mean, that's what I call it, is not taking it seriously, where you think, oh, well, maybe I could just wing this. I've seen that phenomenon more recently after the inception of the Red Hawk Learning Center. And it's just a guess. I don't know if it's true or not, but I wondered if the Red Hawk Learning Center promotes this not taking it seriously because you can take tests again and correct things. I'm not sure. That's something I'm throwing there out for you, because you have taken regular classes where everything counts in high school, and then you had the Red Hawk Learning Center where nothing really counted. You could come back and take things again. And again, here, this is a regular class. You can't do that. And so you have to do well as you go through, and everything's set up for you to do well. So again, it's, if they're setting you up so that it's not going to work for you in pre-calc, then what's the point? So it won't help you now, but maybe we could go back in there and suggest some changes. Or if you feel like the Red Hawk Learning Center didn't prepare you, and this looks so overwhelming that I don't see that much on your work though. I see that people can add fractions, people can do things. So I don't see that as much, but if you feel that, you can let me know that. At least I can ask you why, and then we can go and try to fix that. So any other suggestions right now that you want to verbally tell me? You can always text me or let me know by email too. Nothing? So realize that the rubric is one of these things when you're looking at the test. Actually, I'd asked one student if I could show her test on here. See, when you look at the test, there's that rubric on the side. If you go rogue and decide, I'm going out on my own and I'm just going to do my own thing, you better make sure you dunk. Right? Because if you don't dunk, then on the side, I'm going to start going through and saying, what are they missing? So some of you did that. Some of you were meticulous. You loved the rubric. You went through and check marked each thing as you went down and made sure you had all the pieces. So you could actually count up your score before you even got to turn the test in. So again, keep in mind that this can be a good help to you to let you know what structure I'm looking for in case you get it wrong. Always assume you're going to get it wrong, and then look for that partial credit. And I noticed some of you didn't do that. You weren't looking for, on the last problem, it was specifically asking you to put things into standard form and to show why it's not the answer by calculations, and you just wrote ellipse, ellipse, circles, ellipse. You can't do that. It says not to do that. So if you read those directions, then you can see. And I felt like you knew how to do that because you had the other work on number 4. So it was just maybe not realizing it. So read the rubric really carefully so you make sure that you have all those pieces in. This is just a test-taking tip.
How many tests do we have?
We have 3. Yeah, and 1 is dropped. But it would be nice if it was the 3rd one, not the 1st one. But still, you can still move forward. That's why I'm not saying, look, file into my office so we can talk about withdrawing from the class. I'm really big on protecting grades. I've actually done that myself. Dropped classes when I saw that I was not going to get the right grade. And it might even be a financial hit, but I can tell you that grade will follow you around. It just follows you around. I remember when I was in graduate school, I was already in graduate school, and not only my grades from my undergraduate, but the textbook I used in each undergraduate class had to be put in one of my applications for a research program to Woods Hole. That was as a graduate student. So my grade in philosophy was important for the stupid Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute that I wanted to go to. And I didn't get in. So these things can follow you around, so make sure that you protect your grade. I probably shouldn't say that, right? I probably should say it's all about learning, but it's the truth. I follow my students after, and I want to know that they got jobs. I think that's why most of our students are here. They want to get a job one day, and they want to have a successful career. Right? Mm-hmm. Right. So grades follow you around, unfortunate as it may be, unless you're from MIT, because they don't have grades there. Nope, they don't have grades. But I guess if you got into MIT, you have not much to worry about. So since we did board work last time,